Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today is January 28th of 2021. I am using Manicam to record this. I have my Panasonic G7 digital camera up there on a tripod. I'm using my Web 3, is that it? Web 3, the Elgato Web 3 microphone. I've got the Stream Deck set up here with a few links, but I'm not sure what happens if I push one of them right now. Um, so, the Guadalupe Amazon parrot is thought to have been endemic to the lesser Antillean island region of Guadeloupe, described by 17th and 18th century writers. And that information is right here on Wikipedia. I think I've only donated one. Maybe I need to hook up my wireless mouse. This thing's hooking up on something. I may do, okay, I'm going to do that when I get done. Got so much stuff over here now. When we had our tropical fish shop back in, I don't know when, 1970s, yeah, for 4 years. There at the last, we sold parakeets and some, big parrots or whatever. I don't like birds in it because they cramp just, but anyway, beautiful and very highly intelligent, and they live a long time and all kinds of stuff. Okay, let's see what else is going on around here. I guess Estonia, I forgot about that place even exists. I guess they got their first female prime minister. I'm surprised that that guy who, got poisoned by Putin in London, that he went back to Russia and he was immediately arrested as soon as he stepped off the airplane. But I'm surprised that there are protests against his arrest in more than 120 towns and cities. So maybe there's a little bit of opposition to Putin. But I'm sure he will crush it if it turns out to be any kind of a problem for him. I'm sure he'll crush it brutally. Nature is amazing. The larva of the mangrove jewel bug, pictured. Huh. Amazing. Whoops. Back. It feeds only on the seeds of the river poison tree. Man, I tell you. I'm not an outdoorsy person. Just think, if you're in the Amazon or someplace like that, or any place, I mean, other than a McDonald's, getting a McBurger or something, the kind of stuff. Oh, let me turn down this noisy pump. That's what I need a key on this Stream Deck, is to silence my pump over there. It's kind of noisy. I actually upgraded that pump because it has 4 outlets on it for air, and it has a control to turn it up and down and stuff. So pretty neat. but it's noisy. This is an interesting thing. This, like, if you go to Wikipedia's, just sort of, I guess they call it the front page or whatever. The other day I was reading about it. Not black. The Indian massacre. Forget the name of it. 3 days later, after the massacre, it was, freezing cold. Some, I think, U.S. troops went through checking the grounds or whatever, and they found a frozen Indian lady who had just, I think, given birth not too long before. And the frozen Indian, she was frozen. I guess I said that. But on her back was a newborn infant. And anyway, I read that. The infant was taken and then turned over. She didn't have a very long life, and she had a rough life. Moved from place to place, but I wish I could find that now. I should have marked that. It was an amazing story. Buffalo Bill Cody. He does not come out as a nice guy, by the way. If we're looking for, Western cowboy type people to be our hero or something like that, which would be sort of stupid in a way anyway, how that goes, how life is in real life. But man, anyway, it almost came to me, the name of because there's a small Catholic cemetery there. And at the end of her life, finally, that she was found, strapped to her mother's back or something. 3 days, after the battle. And she had I forget what the original name she was given. And then, of course, she got a non-Indian name given, and then she changed. But finally, fairly recent, I don't know if the 70s or I can't remember now, 70s or whatever, some money was collected and she was moved from where she was buried back to the cemetery where right there in the area of where the battle, I shouldn't have even mentioned it since I can't remember. Man, this is, today's picture. Soldiers of the British Army use a wide range of equipment. The soldier of the Royal Highland Fusiliers in Afghanistan, seen here in rear and front views, is wearing full combat dress. The kit includes an Mk7 combat helmet with multi-terrain pattern cover and a mounted night vision system with ballistic eye protection, an MTP upper body armor shirt, Mk4 MTP Osprey body armor with medical, ammunition, and administration pouches, a personal roll radio, a small arms weapon system with advanced optical gun sights, an underslung grenade launcher, pelvic protection, MTP trousers, knee pads, and combat boots. My God. I went to Catholic schools. I had to wear uniforms. They weren't that bad. Well, one place we had corduroy pants when you walked. when the boys walked, it was. But then I started life out as a welder for years and years, and I had to wear, leathers and a, welding hood and that kind of stuff. Seemed like I've been in uniform. Then I spent, well, of course I didn't when I had, there's other jobs in there that I had. But then I ended up working hospital security for 30 years and, had to carry a handgun and ammunition and handcuffs and all that, weighted, and then, bulletproof vest later on at various hospitals. And man, I never was I should have been a love child or something. Somebody should have, I should have been, except I would not have done well if I was, someplace with larvae and and other things, piranha and stuff that feed on river poison trees. Let's see. Man arrested with a gun and 20 rounds of ammunition near the U.S. Capitol. I think it's really dangerous for, and now it's become really dangerous for politicians, and it doesn't matter whether you're, on the national level or whether you're the governor of Michigan or someplace else. People have taken leave of their senses, I'm afraid. I hope, well, I'm going to be 80 years old here before long, but I hope that we can get back to a more sane time. It's just, somebody that holds any political office shouldn't have to worry about the insanity that seems to be going on right now. Let me scan this CNN news and see a hospital apologized after inviting a VIP list to sign up for vaccine. Okay, I think I know where this is heading. A hospital, let's see, has apologized for mailing about 100 beneficiaries an invitation to sign up for the COVID-19 vaccine, saying, "We are pleased to share that we have 500 new open appointments in the Overlake COVID-19 vaccine clinic." And then it goes, so yeah. That's something that kind of drove, I spent 30 years working hospital security, and it just kind of, I was not the, I don't think it bothered the rest of the people I worked with as much or any, but it's something about it just made me one of these people to go get, I already had a gun, made me somebody who wanted to go. These hospitals, they collect, they're non-profit, they're not, they should be charged, I've discussed that. But if, like working security, you'd get a call, from administration. Oh, somebody's coming in today, such and so, whatever the story is. That they're a VIP. Make sure they get a good parking spot. Make sure you, bring them right to administration, or you do this, or do that, or the news media is coming today. Make sure that when they show up, that you keep them in the lobby. And you call right away, public, relations department to come down. I hate it, though. And okay, anytime anybody would mention public relations person, or anytime I had any kind of dealing with them, But I've seen this thing of, so the hospital wants to raise money. Well, even though they've got tons of money coming in, they they have, a board of trustees, they have a board of, all these different groups who show up occasionally to be wined and dined with, I'm not kidding, wine, of course, and a lobster and steak. And that, one of the jobs of security is to go, you make your rounds, and then so one of the, the dining rooms, you'd go by there at a certain time, or not a certain time, but all the time you go by, and then you go in to check to make sure, that everything's secure, there's not a fire and all this kind of stuff, and you go in there, and they've had one of these dinners for the trustees or board of governors, whatever, and there's, lobster and steak, and they've had wine and all this kind of stuff. Of course, the hospital's doing it to get them to, donate money or do stuff, but then we'd have to lock up that area. And then I can remember a few times that more than one hospital, of course, because it's a standard practice, they have this, they have these lists of people, and they're invited for things, and I'm sure they're sent stuff, well, before the internet, they're sent letters and things to tell them and ask them maybe to donate for something. And like the hospital would, in buying things, if you were on the board of, if you were a car dealer and you were on the board of trustees or whatever these boards are, the hospital would be buying, cars from your dealership, and but stuff like that. And I can remember more than once. I remember one specific, just for some reason it sticks in my mind. A lady comes in, with her husband. A lady comes in to be admitted to the hospital, and normally, you'd say, right over there, admitting department, they'll take care of you, whatever. I might even have said that. Somebody said, and I said, oh, right over there, the admitting department. We don't go through the admitting, I said, well, just right over there, check with the lady, she'll be able to help you. And then, I'm in the area or whatever, and then the director of admitting or whatever, oh, let's say Smith. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we've been waiting for you. Yeah, okay, she'll go right up to her room, and they have an orderly or whatever, take her right up to her. Everybody else, you know how it goes if you're in the United States. I'm not sure how it is with the National Health Service in the UK or whatever, but in the United States, your insurance and all this but no, that person went right up to her room, which I'm sure, I remember at one hospital, St. Joseph Hospital, the first one I started working at, Catholic Hospital, with nuns that ran everything. They had rooms that were, called like the VIP room, rooms that were nicer and all types of stuff. I'm not sure when that changed, but back in 1972 or whatever, when you checked into, I know St. Joe Hospital, and I think others too, you checked in and, okay, would you like television? That'll be, I don't know, $2 a day or something. Yes, I'd like television. Okay, we'll have a television sent, somebody would have to take a television into the room and set it up for them, So, let's see, I think, did I cover the news? Let me go back here. I don't think so. Let's see what else is going to jog my... I haven't started raving, have I yet? I don't think so. Southwest Airline reports first loss in 48 years. Wow, I didn't realize Southwest Airlines have been around. I think I'm not sure if Southwest Airlines headquarters is in Dallas-Fort Worth area or not. I know they're big here. I worked security at Love Field after 9/11 at Control Tower Security there for a while. And then I worked at Addison Field Control Tower Security. Says here, after the 2020 loss, the GOP is trying to make voting harder. How about people only with mega hats? Make America can. How about you have to have one of those in order to vote? That might be something they might like. Boom! I just moved out of the. I don't know why I just don't permanently turn off the monetization thing. Could post-vaccine life mean we return to normal? Says not yet. I hope. I mean, I haven't been somebody for, I'm kind of a home person. But man, I would like to get out a little bit. I'm not sure, not sure I'm going to live to see that day. I'm going to be 80 here in a couple months. Man escapes crocodile by prying jaws off his head. I think I remember seeing a documentary or something about, well, I'm not sure if it was crocodiles or alligators. And they showed some people doing, like sticking their head in the head of the jaws of a crocodile or something. And I think, if I remember correct, don't follow my advice. I think I saw something about. I think it was that the jaws closing, the muscles or whatever. I mean, that's devastating. But they don't have much. It'd be easier to pry their mouth open. But so far as coming down, I think the thing I was watching was a guy that was his thing. I think that was in Florida. And the gimmick or the not again, I wouldn't do it. But he could put his head inside, and I guess he did this regularly. I know he did, for this show. But the thing was, he was sweating a little bit, and he'd have probably been okay. He had the mouth open, had his head in there, but a drop of sweat fell, and that triggered it. And if that hadn't happened, that was, I guess, one of the little, things that they knew. And when you know something, knowledge is power, right? I haven't flown I mentioned this before. I haven't flown very much in my life, and I don't want to. But this is crazy that airline workers are being attacked and spit on, and there's people on planes that are shouting out stuff on an airplane. I mean, we're not talking. I mean, even a bus. I mean, come on. I've seen documentaries or thing about. I think it's Japan, but it might be China too. But I think it's Japan. people riding the bus. Well, of course, we've seen pictures of where the people at the transportation push people into these, pack them in there, squeeze them in to get in. But also, so maybe it wasn't Japan, but people sit. They don't use like a cell phone and be talking on it with a cell phone. Like here you ride the bus or whatever, and there's always more than two or three people with their cell phone on the bus going full blast. And then in the part of Fort Worth that I live in, you ride the bus, there's always one crazy person on and I feel sorry for these people. And I've said it for years and years. I feel sorry for these people. And I blame President Ronald Reagan, for what, the things that he did. Claiming, that closing treatment facilities and doing all this kind of stuff, and that they were going to close these places, and they were going to have these other, and they didn't have the rest of, all they did was close places because here you ride a bus and there's a crazy person on. I guess I shouldn't say crazy person with problems, and there's one on the bus, and everybody on the bus acts like there's a person doing something and screaming and talking to themselves, and everybody is like, I don't see this person, and don't look at them, don't acknowledge, and then. But I mean, those people, there's no excuse. But some of these people traveling on the airlines, they're not going to wear a mask, and yeah, I'm definitely into the political area now. And I'm not sure exactly how the no-fly list, works. If they're getting put on a no-fly list, if somebody's being put on a no-fly list, like by Southwest Airline or whatever, because of the way it should be, fairly done. But it should be, when you get put on a no-fly list by one airline, it ought to be all airlines. I mean, shut these people down. If you can't be a gentleman or be a lady, what was To Sir with Love, was that it? Sydney Portray, I can't remember, teacher in UK, and he was, teaching the kids there, high school, to be respectful and to use, to say sir and type of stuff. That should be, wait. Of course, that's the thing that'll set off the right too, is if you say, we should have some rules in the schools, and it should be, everybody should be a lady and a gentleman, and certain language should not be used. We have, freedom of speech, so you can't, you can't ban things, but it should be that it should be, and two, another thing that would come into freedom of speech or whatever it is, there are movies and shows and things that should not be made. And now you couldn't, because of our freedom of speech, the First Amendment, the government couldn't ban it, but it ought to be that, I don't know, I watch a lot of movies and I enjoy movies and things, whatever. It just should be that HBO or something should just say, we're not allowing that such and such movie. We're not going to have it. And the people should be, now it would be wrong for the government to do it, but HBO should be able to do it. Say, well, okay, we're not going to show movies where people are being sliced up and run through meat grinders and all this. These things are not going to be on the thing, and it should be, if if HBO didn't have rules like that, then it should be that the public would just say, well, I love watching movies, but I'm not going to pay for HBO. Same with radio stations, the hip hop music or whatever, the language or whatever. Yeah, the government should not be allowed to censor it, but it ought to be radio stations should be saying, we're not going to play it. So now, of course, you'd have the entire black community, well, not the entire black community, but you'd have young black people would, I guess they'd start their own radio stations or something, which you could what you could do now with, the internet. But I don't know. I'm an old man. And I'm actually very liberal and very, but I'm tired of all this insanity. I don't like wearing a mask either, but I wear a mask. Um, when I put a mask on, I feel like I really can't quite breathe. And also because of my hearing loss, I didn't realize until this mask thing came up that um, I've never had my hearing checked, but my hearing since second grade, first grade probably, has been really bad, really bad. But I managed to work my entire life, never without a job. Usually had 2 jobs. Worked all my life. Uh, but I think somehow, and I can't blame my parents for not having my hearing taken care of when they found out that I had hearing loss in both ears. Because as soon as I got it, as soon as I got out of high school and as soon as I went to work, I had health insurance. I never went, I never went to my primary care doctor and said I have, well, I did, but it was like, I don't know, 50 years later or something, 40 years later or something, I went to my doctor and I said, is there anything else? I said, well, I've had hearing loss in both ears since oh, okay, well, we'll contact a hearing doctor and you'll be notified when to go there, whatever. I mentioned this before, of course. And so I thought, okay, finally I'll, have it looked at and find out how bad it is and that type of stuff. So, my primary care doctor said, your appointment is at such and such a time. And I go there, man, isolation booths and all this kind of equipment, all that kind of stuff, I mean, I don't think I was really expecting that, type of, looked like you were going to be going to the moon or something or other, So I go there and then they say, where's your referral? And I said, well, my doctor's office made it. I wouldn't even know. Well, you didn't get a referral from your doctor's office. And I said, well, okay, well, if I pay, how much is, and I forget what it was. It was a lot of money. I mean, if it had been $50, $100, maybe $150 or something. I forget. And I said, ooh, I'll go back and see my doctor and get a referral and I'll make another appointment. And I never went back to, well, I went back to my doctor, but I never got a referral, never asked for one. Let's see. Well, I have 3,000 subscribers. It just took me from 2005 to 2015 to get 3,000 subscribers. This, if you're, in case you're wondering, if you go to this site, you can enter in the name or whatever for the site, and you can find out a little bit about them. How many uploads, how many subscribers, how many video views, their ranking, and everything like that. And this, it says, because I've wondered myself, you know, but this is estimated monthly earning. This is for my site, Howard's Notebook. And it says the estimated monthly earning is $2 to $31. That's about right. I, from YouTube, make about 30, 40, or 50 a month. Actually, $31 is pretty accurate because a lot of, they don't pay you until it's $100. And it's about every 3 months I get about $100, $101 or something like that. So that's pretty accurate. So you're looking at estimated yearly earnings of $370. I just spent $150 on this Stream Deck. The Wave 3 microphone, I think it was like $150. And of course I had this, you know, but my digital camera, that's $600. And just, you know, just so that's why, if you can, try to use the links below for Amazon links, because actually I finally, there again, it's finally, after years and years and years, for the last 3 months, I made a little bit of money. I made 1 month $100 from Amazon commissions, but that's the highest, most I've ever made for 1 month. And there's months where I've shown that before. I've shown the entire thing over the years. But then I made, in this last few months, made $100 1 month, $101. Made, now Amazon pays, I think if it's over $10 or whatever, they go ahead and put it in the bank. You don't have to wait till it's like $100. But I made $100 1 month, $6 another month, and this month I think I'm making 50 something. Here in a few days they will put $50 or so in my bank. So if you could use the links below, thank you, it would help out. So I remembered to turn off the sound, or turn off the air pump for the aquarium, so this audio should be pretty good. And anyway, thank you very much for watching.